The glass shattered just as Kasim stepped into the room. "I said," he growled, eyes narrowing at the woman in diamonds, "don't call her my mother." Kate stood frozen near the window, trembling. Her hands clutched a teacup that hadn't yet reached her lips. Across from her, the woman in white silk turned slowly, unfazed. "I birthed you," she said coolly. "You owe me. I owe nothing to the woman who left me in a box to drown in the rain." Kasim's voice cracked, rage tightening around every word. Kate gasped. The room fell still. Then the woman dropped the bomb. "You really think Kate found you by accident?" Her voice was like velvet dipped in venom. "She was paid to take you." Kasim's estate was grand. Marble floors, mirrored ceilings, a view of the city that whispered of success. But today, tension flooded the walls. Kate had called to say someone came asking for him. She sounded shaken, not the usual tremble of excitement when she saw him on TV, or nervousness when she entered his corporate meetings. This was different. "She said she's your mother." He'd barely arrived when the woman strode into the sitting room like she owned the place. Hair coiled into a crown, fingers heavy with rings. Her perfume, rich, suffocating, was the kind worn by women used to commanding rooms. Kasim said nothing at first, just stared, studied her. She tilted her chin. "I see you've done well." Kate stood behind, unsure whether to speak or flee. Her eyes, always so warm, now filled with dread. "I don't know who you are," Kasim said slowly, "but I don't do walk-ins, especially not from ghosts." "I'm not a ghost. I'm your mother." Kate's breath hitched audibly. Kasim's jaw clenched. The woman took a seat without being asked. "I didn't abandon you. I made arrangements. Paid well. Kate was supposed to give you back after a few years. Clearly, she had other plans." Kasim turned toward Kate. "Is that true?" Kate didn't answer. The room suddenly felt too small. Kate had never been speechless before, not in front of Kasim. But now, her tongue was a prisoner behind lips that trembled. "I asked you a question," Kasim said, his voice low, controlled. "Did you know her?" Kate looked at the woman, the stranger who carried the same eyes as Kasim, only colder. Then back at the boy, no, the man, she raised as her own. "She came to me," Kate said finally. Her voice was soft, like someone afraid of shattering glass. 16 years ago. I was 16 too. I just lost my sister. And then this baby, you, was left at my door in a box. She told me it was temporary, that she'd return in 3 months. The woman scoffed. "And you vanished." "No," Kate said, her eyes wet. "You stopped coming. I waited. I wrote letters. I even went back to where we met. You were gone." Kasim stepped back like the floor moved under him. "So you knew all along?" he asked. "That I wasn't yours?" Kate's mouth opened, then closed again. Her silence said enough. The woman leaned back in her seat, victorious. "I gave you everything." Kate whispered to Kasim, "When you had fevers, it was me holding your hand through the night. When you got your first scholarship, it was me who screamed the loudest. When kids bullied you for wearing torn uniforms, it was me who stitched them every night with borrowed thread." "But you lied," Kasim said. Quiet, dangerous. "I didn't lie," she snapped. "I just never told, because I was afraid." Kasim's eyes burned as he turned to the woman. "What do you want?" She smiled. "To reclaim my son." Kate gasped. "No, you can't." "Oh, I can," the woman said, pulling a folded paper from her purse. "And with this court order, I will." Kasim took it, read it. His lips tightened. "Why now?" he asked. The woman's expression shifted, just for a second. Smugness cracked into something like fear. "Because someone found out the truth, and they're going to use it." "Who?" he demanded. She hesitated, then said one name, a name neither Kate nor Kasim expected. The name dropped like a knife. "Victor Daramola." Kate went pale. Kasim frowned. "Who the hell is Victor Daramola?" The woman's lips curled. "Your father." Kasim's heart stopped. He had imagined his father 1,000 ways, a ghost, a coward, a myth, but never a name, never real. "He's alive?" Kasim asked. "Alive, powerful, and he knows about you." Kate gripped the edge of the sofa. "That man is dangerous." The woman glanced at her. "Oh, now you speak?" "I kept Kasim safe from him," Kate said. "All these years. If he's back, we're all in danger." Kasim was tired of riddles. "Start talking. Now." Later that night, Kasim searched the small box under Kate's bed, the one labeled Old Memories. Inside were faded photos, baby shoes, scribbled drawings, and a bundle of unsent letters, each addressed to Mr. Daramola, each ending with the same plea: "Please don't come for him." Kate entered the room slowly. "You found them." "You were hiding me," Kasim said. "From him?" Kate nodded. "He's not just a man, Kasim. He's the kind of shadow that eats light. He's my father. He's a killer." Kasim confronted his birth mother again. "Why didn't you warn me about him?" she scoffed. "Warn you? I offered you power." She pulled out a black and white photo of a young Victor, tall, handsome, eyes like Kasim's. "He owns banks, lands, people. You could have inherited it all." "I built my own empire," Kasim said coldly, "with Kate." "But you don't know what you could have had," she replied. Then she dropped another photo on the table. This one was recent. Victor, holding a woman close. The woman was Kate. Kasim felt the world crack open. "That's not possible," he whispered. "She never met him. She said she feared him." "She lied," the woman said. "He paid her, handsomely." The picture showed Victor and Kate, 15 years ago. Kate looked scared, but the arm around her waist wasn't forced. "She was his mistress," the woman said, "before she ran off with you." Kasim shook his head. "No, Kate wouldn't." "You think angels survive in slums?" she said sharply. "She did what she had to do." Kasim showed the photo to Kate that night. She broke down. "I was 16. He charmed me, then trapped me." "You were with him?" Kate nodded, tears streaming. "He left me pregnant." Kasim's body went cold. "What?" "You're not hers," she said. "You're mine." The room tilted. Kasim backed away, heart thudding. "You're my real mother?" Kate nodded. "I lied," she whispered, "because I was ashamed." Victor Daramola arrived like a ghost in a limousine. "Son," he said, stepping out with quiet command. "We need to talk. I'm not your son. You're mine in blood, whether you like it or not." Victor offered a deal. Join his empire, inherit everything. Kasim stared at the man whose empire was built on fear. "I built my legacy without you," he said. "I don't want your shadow." Victor smiled. "Then you leave me no choice." Kate was stabbed outside her shop. Kasim rushed to the hospital, blood on his hands. She survived, but barely. "They wanted to scare you," she whispered through pain. "Victor sent them." Kasim's rage boiled over. He promised to protect her. Always. Now it was war. In the hospital, Kate made Kasim sign a paper. Her will. "I may not live long," she said, "but I want to die knowing you're safe." "Don't talk like that. You're my greatest story," she said. "Don't let him write the ending." Kasim cried beside her. "I won't." At his next shareholder meeting, Kasim noticed something off. Whispers, sudden resignations. Then he saw her, his birth mother, smiling on the board of directors. She'd bought her way in. "You shouldn't have ignored me," she said. "You sold your son," Kasim said, "and now I'm buying him back." One of Kate's old friends gave Kasim a USB stick. "It's time you saw the whole truth," he said. The video played. A younger Kate, holding baby Kasim. "I lied," she said tearfully. "Not to hurt you, but to protect you from a man who owns everything, except love." "He's your father," she said, "but I'm the one who stayed. I'm the one who loved you." Kasim wept as the video ended. And he knew. It was time to destroy everything Victor Daramola ever built. Kasim stood on the rooftop of his corporate tower, the USB stick still in his hand. The city lights below pulsed like a beating heart, but his own felt deadened. Victor had declared war, and Kasim was ready to burn down the battlefield. He began by making a call. "Jonas," he said to his tech security chief, "I want every file, transaction, off-the-record deal that Victor Daramola has touched in the last 20 years. Dig up dirt, real dirt." Jonas hesitated. "You know this could start something irreversible?" Kasim's eyes sharpened. "It already has." 3 days later, Kasim received a package wrapped in black leather. Inside were confidential documents, bribes to police officers, hidden offshore accounts, photos of Victor with politicians, and most damning of all, a witness statement from a woman who claimed Victor Daramola paid to have her brother killed over land. Kasim locked the office door and stared at the photos. He didn't just want to destroy Victor financially. He wanted to break him the way Victor had broken so many. And then, in the bottom of the file, he found something else. A birth certificate. His. But something was wrong. Father's name, Victor Daramola. Mother's name, Aminat Daramola. Not Kate, not even the woman who claimed to be his birth mother. It was someone else entirely. Kasim froze, then whispered, "Who is Aminat?" He immediately called Jonas. "I need you to look up Aminat Daramola. Full background, fast." Jonas paused. "You're not going to believe this." "What?" "She's alive, in hiding, and she tried to reach you 10 years ago." Kasim felt the floor drop beneath him. Another mother? Another lie? He wasn't just fighting Victor's empire now. He was about to uncover the deepest betrayal of all. The truth about his real mother and the woman who buried her. Kasim drove himself, no driver, no security, across the edge of town to a place no map guided him. A small, weather-worn compound on the outskirts of Abeokuta. Trees leaned in like sentinels, guarding the secrets buried within. He knocked once, twice. Then the door creaked open. A woman, mid-50s, stood in the shadows. Her skin was deep and her eyes, those eyes, matched his perfectly. "Aminat Daramola?" Kasim asked. She didn't answer, just looked at him for a long time, then stepped aside. Inside, the house smelled of cloves and old tears. No luxury, no grandeur, just silence. "You came," she said finally, voice trembling. "You're my mother?" She nodded slowly. "I gave birth to you in pain, but I lost you in worse pain." Kasim sat down across from her, his heart thundering. "I don't understand," he said. "Everyone told me something different. Kate, the other woman. Victor..." She flinched at his name. "He lied. All of them did. But Victor, he stole you from me." "What?" "I was his wife, his first. But I couldn't give him a son fast enough, so he took matters into his own hands. When you were born, he claimed you weren't his, and had you taken away in secret." Kasim was stunned. "But the woman who raised me, Kate, she said she found me in a box." "She did, but not by chance." Aminat stood up. She opened a drawer and retrieved a faded diary. She was paid, by Victor's mistress. Kasim's breath hitched. "The woman who's been pretending to be my mother?" Aminat nodded. "She wasn't your mother. She was your father's lover, and the reason I was locked away in a clinic for almost a decade." Kasim's hands clenched. His whole life had been written in someone else's ink. He looked at Aminat. "Why didn't you come for me?" She looked down. "I did," she said, "and I almost died for it." Kasim gripped the worn edges of Aminat's diary as if it were the only truth he had left. The pages, yellowed with age and anguish, told a story of abuse, confinement, and escape. Aminat sat beside him now, trembling as she relived the horrors. "After I gave birth," she said, "Victor accused me of infidelity. He had no proof, he just wanted an excuse. I was drugged, taken to a private clinic, and declared mentally unstable. They told the world I died of childbirth complications." She turned to him, eyes sharp despite the tears. "But I didn't die. I escaped. With help." "Whose help?" Kasim asked. A pause. A name. "Kate." Kasim blinked. "Kate?" "Yes. She was a janitor at the clinic. She overheard the nurses talking about a woman whose baby had been stolen. When she found me bleeding in a storage room one night, she risked everything. She helped me escape." Kasim was shaking. "So Kate did know everything?" Aminat nodded. "She knew. But she also thought you were already lost. The mistress had you by then, so she ran, to hide from Victor, to protect you. And she raised me as her own." "She loved you," Aminat said, "more than life. She sacrificed her future so you could have one." Kasim stood up, pacing. "So the woman who's on my board, who claimed to be my mother, She stole me to get back at you? She wanted power, Amanat whispered, and Victor used you to buy her loyalty. Kasim turned to her. Where have you been all this time? Hiding, watching, waiting for the day you were strong enough to learn the truth. Kasim looked into her eyes. I'm strong enough now, he said, and I'm going to finish this. But even as he said it, his phone rang. Kate was gone. Kasim burst through Kate's front door, empty. No signs of a struggle, no blood, no goodbye letter. Just the silence of absence. The neighbors had seen nothing. Her phone was off. Her shop locked. Then, on her kitchen counter, he saw it. Her favorite mug, cracked. And beneath it, a slip of paper. Just one line, forgive me. Back at his penthouse, Kasim confronted the mistress, the woman who had claimed to be his mother. You took her, he said. Where is she? She didn't even flinch. You've outgrown her, Kasim. If anything happens to her, she was always a placeholder, she interrupted. You were never supposed to love her. That was never the deal. What deal? He growled. Her eyes gleamed. The deal your father made with me. Raise the boy, shape him, return him when he was ripe for power. Kasim's heart dropped. I was never yours. She stood walking to the window. No, she said, but I wanted you to be. That night, as Kasim tried to make sense of the chaos, someone knocked on his door. Leah, the only woman he ever loved. The one he pushed away years ago when he thought his world was too broken to hold love. You need me, she said simply. Kasim didn't argue. He let her in. With Leah's help, Kasim accessed the archives of Victor's former clinic. Hidden in the security system was a folder labeled Night 146. It showed a nurse dragging Amanat down a hallway, and behind her, barely visible, was Kate, leading the escape. Leah covered her mouth. She was telling the truth, Kasim whispered. All these years. She was my guardian angel. Kasim confronted Victor in his private golf club. I know everything, he said. Victor didn't even look up from his swing. Do you? I know you lied about Amanat, that you sold me off like property. Victor smiled. And you still grew strong. You're welcome. I'm taking you down. Victor turned, his face suddenly cold. You're not ready. You don't know what war tastes like, but you're about to. He handed Kasim a phone. It played a video. Kate, in chains. Victor demanded a deal. Kasim would transfer 51% of his company into a blind trust, controlled by Victor, or Kate would vanish permanently. Kasim didn't blink. You think I'm afraid to start over? He asked. I built this once. I'll burn it all if I have to. Victor smirked. Then bury her with it. Before Kasim could decide, Amanat came to him with a plan. We switched the trust papers, she said. Let him think he's won. What then? Then we make him answer to everything he's done. You want revenge? He asked. I want justice, and I want Kate back. Meanwhile, the mistress began to unravel. Her board influence crumbled, and whispers of her deception spread across the media. Leah exposed her on a live interview. You manipulated a child for power. The world deserves to know what kind of mother you really are. The mistress snapped and vanished that night. Kasim tracked Kate to a private villa on the coast, Victor's safe house. He went in alone, fought 2 guards, took a bullet to the shoulder, found Kate locked in a soundproof room, barely conscious. I came for you, he said, bleeding, unlocking her chains. She wept. I knew you would. As dawn rose, Victor arrived in a black SUV. He stepped out, calm, like a king. You want to kill me? He asked. Kasim raised his gun. No. He handed Victor a document. I filed charges, Kasim said. Trafficking, fraud, murder conspiracy. Your empire is gone. Victor chuckled. You think that paper can stop me? No, Kasim said. But the woman you buried, the son you abandoned, and the world you underestimated, we can. Behind him, reporters emerged. And then the police. Victor's smile faded. For the first time, he looked afraid. In the days after Victor's arrest, Kasim poured his time into rebuilding what the war had broken. His company, his peace, and Kate's health. Leah stood by him through it all. Her presence was like balm on an old wound. But one night, while she thought he was asleep, he heard her on the phone. No, he doesn't know I used to work for Victor. He can't find out. Not now. Kasim's eyes snapped open. She had been on Victor's payroll. Kasim confronted her the next morning. Leah didn't deny it. "I was desperate," she said. "Victor promised to clear my father's debts if I fed him updates about you. I stopped years ago." "You used me," Kasim whispered. "I fell in love with you. That was real." "Just like Kate's love," he snapped. "Or Aminat's suffering." Leah reached for him. "Please." He stepped back and closed the door between them. Victor's arrest made headlines across the continent. Politicians distanced themselves. Assets froze. And then, like a snake writhing without a head, his empire crumbled. But from his prison cell, Victor sent Kasim one final letter. "You didn't win. You just inherited my enemies." Inside the envelope was a list. Names, people Victor had betrayed. People who now believed Kasim had taken his throne. That night, Kasim's car brakes failed. 2 days later, his office was vandalized. A week after that, Kate received a package. Inside was a bloodied scarf, hers. With a note, "Return the boy, or he returns in pieces." Aminat came to say goodbye. "I'm leaving the country," she said. "They'll come after me next." "I can protect you," Kasim said. "No," she smiled. "You have enough to carry. I lost you once, but I got to see the man you became. That's enough." She kissed his forehead and disappeared. Just when Kasim thought she was gone forever, the mistress, Victor's ex-lover, reappeared. But this time, she wasn't fighting. She was hiding. "They're after me too," she said, trembling. "I didn't sign up for this. You have to protect me." "You ruined my life," Kasim said. She fell to her knees. "I didn't know how far it would go." He walked away, but didn't slam the door. The stress finally broke her. Kate fainted in the middle of her garden. Her blood pressure had spiked dangerously. At the hospital, she gripped Kasim's hand. "I'm tired," she whispered. "If I don't wake up?" "No," Kasim cried. "Don't say that." She smiled weakly. "I got to see my boy become a man. That's enough for me." In the quiet after the storm, Kasim found himself staring at a small box. The ring had been ready for months, meant for Leah. But now, he visited her. "I know you betrayed me," he said, "but I also know you saved my life more than once." Leah's eyes filled. "I never stopped loving you." He handed her the box. "I'm not asking now, but when you're ready to fight with me, not behind me, open it." One of Victor's old enforcers, an ex-soldier named Bola, tried to kidnap Kasim outside a hotel. But Kasim had been ready. He used the mistress as bait. Bola walked straight into a trap set by the authorities, and Leah. "Looks like she chose a side," Kasim muttered as Bola was cuffed. Leah looked at him. "I chose you. I always did." Kate survived her health scare, but just barely. While she recovered, a nurse handed Kasim an envelope Kate had written but never mailed. Inside was a handwritten note. "If anything happens to me, don't cry. You were never mine by blood, but you were always mine by love. And in the end, that's what makes a real mother." Kasim cried in that hospital room, not for what he lost, but for everything he'd been lucky enough to have. Even with Victor gone, the threats didn't end. Kasim discovered his name on an encrypted dark money hit list, along with several other reformists who had risen from slums to power. "You're not fighting a man anymore," Leah warned him. "You're fighting an idea, and some people would rather die than let a man like you win." Kasim wasn't afraid, but now he understood. His survival wasn't just about himself. It was for every child who came from nothing. One of Kasim's charity schools, Kate Foundation Academy, was set on fire. 3 children were injured. It was a warning. Kasim went public. On national television, he revealed the corruption, the names from Victor's blacklist, the intimidation, everything. "I am the son of a forgotten woman. I was left in a box, but I rose," he said, "and I will not bow." The crowd erupted. His enemies went quiet, for now. Kate finally regained strength, but something had changed in her. Quiet, slower, but wiser. She took Kasim's hand one afternoon, her eyes bright. "There's something else I need to tell you." Kasim braced. She reached into her Bible and handed him an old letter, unopened. From Aminat, written years ago. "Kate, if you ever find him again, tell him I never stopped looking, and thank you for loving him when I wasn't allowed to." A. Kasim planned a surprise proposal event for Leah. All their closest friends. A rooftop, candles. She said yes, but the next morning, she vanished. No note, no goodbye, only a voicemail. You need a clean slate, Kasim, not a girl with a past like mine. I love you, but I won't let my shadow stain your future. He listened to it twice, then deleted it. Victor Daramola died in prison. No funeral, no visitors. But he left behind a final will, one that shocked the entire nation. He named Kasim as his sole heir. Billions, properties, stocks. But Kasim rejected it. I won't live on blood money, he said at the press conference. I will build on sacrifice and honesty. Instead, he redirected every cent into rebuilding the places Victor destroyed. 6 months later, Leah returned, changed. She had opened a shelter for abused girls, named it after Kate. Kasim visited it one rainy morning. He found Leah teaching a small class of 10-year-old girls how to build with Lego blocks. She saw him, smiled. No apology, no drama. Just an embrace that said, I'm home. Together, they rebuilt everything. The school was reopened, bigger. Kasim's foundation helped over 10,000 kids. Leah became director of women's rights outreach. Kate became a national speaker on resilience. And for the first time, Kasim felt peace. Kasim stepped down as CEO, not in disgrace, but in freedom. He created a system where the company couldn't be controlled by any single man again. I was born under a lie, he said, but I refuse to rule under one. No press, just friends. Kate walked him down the aisle. Leah wore a simple white dress, and Kasim, for once, had nothing left to prove, only a vow left to honor. To the woman who raised me, to the woman who bore me, and to the woman who chose me, I vow to love like you did. Years passed. A boy stood on a stage at the Kasim Daramola Memorial Library. He looked up at the statue of Kasim and Kate. I was a boy in the slums once, he said, but someone believed in me. That's why I'm here. And in the crowd, an older Leah smiled. Kate, now silver-haired, held her hand. Their story had changed the nation. But more than that, it had changed the definition of family. Years later, Kasim sat at his desk, older now but still sharp. Outside, the sun spilled through his garden where Kate sat with a little boy in her lap, his son. Kasim picked up a pen and began to write. My son, you may hear many stories about me, some true, some twisted. But remember this, I was born without a name, without protection. I was shaped by pain, but I became a man because a girl who had nothing gave me everything. And one day, when you are tested by the weight of this world, don't ask, what can I take? Ask, what can I give? That's what makes a real man. He sealed the letter and placed it in a drawer labeled, to be opened when he turns 18. Aminat came to visit for the last time, old, frail, but proud. She sat with Kate in the garden, sipping tea. The two women talked for hours. No bitterness, no shame, just understanding. I hated you once, Aminat said softly. Kate smiled. I was jealous of you too. But he turned out all right, didn't he? Kate laughed through tears. Better than all right. They held hands, and in that moment, history healed. Kasim gave one last public address at a youth summit in Lagos. He looked out at thousands of hopeful eyes. I was abandoned in the rain, raised by a girl with nothing, lied to by people who had everything, and still I rose. The crowd leaned in. But what I've learned is this. It's not about where you come from. It's about who walks with you. Tears, applause, silence. A single question echoed in every heart. Who are you willing to walk with? Kate passed away peacefully in her sleep. Her last journal entry read, he kept his vow. And so did I. The funeral overflowed. Dignitaries, orphans, former enemies, every soul she'd ever touched. Kasim gave the eulogy. He didn't cry at first, until he said, she wasn't my mother by blood. She was my mother by choice, and that made her everything. 20 years later, a statue was unveiled in the center of the city. Not of a king, not of a tycoon, but of a young boy wrapped in a blanket, left in a rain-soaked box. The plaque read, "Here stood a forgotten child, who became a man the world would never forget." And beneath it, etched in gold, "KASIM'S vow. No one who loves you like a mother should ever be left behind." Leah, now gray, stood beside their son. The boy read the words and smiled. "I'll keep it too, Dad." And just like that, the vow lived on,